Coming up in this episode of the KickCast, we play inside a cell, tape your Legos anywhere, and the ukulele gets Bluetooth. So sit back and relax. It's time for the KickCast. Hey everybody, it is time for another episode of the KickCast where we go out and find crowdfunding projects and let you know if you should backtrack or sack them. I am Ktdata, one half of the show, and joining me is my brother from another mother, and we have our backsies are synced, the one and only Drew Tyler. How you doing today, my friend?
Very good, and we are synced. We're on the same page all the time. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I've been awake for 18 plus hours now. But yeah, we're here. We're here to do a show, and I'm always glad to hang out with you. If anything, like even if this show is like terrible and one person ever watches it, I'd still want to do it just because I get to hang out with you.
We do it for the one.
Yeah.
For us.
Luckily, we have a couple people watching in there. So hi, cousin. Hi, D-Max. Hi, everybody else.
Yeah, we always have a good crew. We always have a good crew. They like what we do.
Yep. So before we jump into our first project of the night, we have some news, and the first comes from the Indiegogo front. And Drew, you've probably run into this. I know I've run into this. This was actually one of the impetus of us creating the show. Is when you go to these crowdfunding sites, especially Kickstarter and Indiegogo, they have like 8 categories, right? And then everything gets shifted into that.
Yes.
Indiegogo announced that they are actually making more categories. And the way they're doing it is they have 3 overreaching concepts. So they don't call these categories per se, but they're kind of the overreaching concepts. One of them is tech and innovation. The other one is creative works. And the last one is community projects. And keep in mind all their, help me pay for medical bills and stuff is all on generosity now.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
So what they do is if you're kind of like us, the geeks that have to have the latest and greatest and know what's hot and what's not, tech and innovation is where we're going to find a lot of stuff. So they break down the categories on their blog page, where under tech and innovation, you will now have audio, camera gear, energy and green tech, fashion and wearables, food and beverages, health and fitness section, home, phones and accessories, productivity, transportation, travel and outdoors, and others, of course. So
is there a section for just add Bluetooth?
That's what they need. I'm like, somebody needs to just do that. Add now with Bluetooth. I'd pay attention to that section.
And you just roll through and you just find all the new things that have Bluetooth. That's a great idea.
Yeah. And then so they also have the creative works, and this is where, it's more of those shows and type things that they put together, which consider art, comics, that's a personal favorite of mine, dance and theater, film, music, photography, podcasts, blogs, and vlogs. Maybe we should put one up there. Tabletop games, video games, web series and TV shows, writing and publishing, and other creations, which is pretty cool. And of course, the last one is the community projects, which are animal rights, cultures, education, environment, human rights, local businesses, spirituality, wellness, and other community projects. That's where you would find Drew's favorite project of all time, the Feral Cats.
Yes. Do you remember that? That was a solid project. I should check in and see how they're doing.
So how do you feel about them expanding these categories? Because, before it was just like tech and design or something like that,
Right. No, I think this makes a good sense because you've got these umbrellas that kind of set up all these other little categories. And for any type of structure like this, I think it's a good thing for people to be able to find exactly what it is that they want to find. Most people know what they like to hunt for, what they like to invest in. I think it's a fine idea.
Yeah. So if you're making an Indiegogo project, these are things you may consider. Where do I fit best in, and where can I stand out the most?
Right. Yeah.
All right. So our next one, this is an interesting one. Because, well, let's be honest, we live on the internet. It's the global age.
Sure.
And, not everybody speaks one language. I'm waiting for that day, or I'm waiting for the universal translator. One of the two. Somebody give me one of the two. So Kickstarter actually put up this post talking about best practices for translating your project page. And what's great about that is they give you some insight into kind of how many people. So 75% of Kickstarter backers come from some English speaking countries. So including English somewhere in your project is probably going to be helpful. Doesn't have to be
Right.
your main focus, but it should be somewhere there. And I like how English translations and subtitles can help your project appeal to a wider audience. I actually like that better than them overdubbing with a translator because it just feels weird when you got that kind of Bruce Lee effect where
Yeah.
the mouth
Yeah.
and the
That
sound.
never goes well.
So I kind of like that. And they give you some, if you go to the page, they'll give you some suggestions on where you can find translators and stuff. But one of the key tips is whatever you use, always have a native speaker. Check what is in the copy, you know, because if you put
Yes.
something vague up, it may get you into trouble. And, you know, if you guys want to translate any of your projects into Tagalog, you know,
I could do that.
Drew might be, you know, he'll do that for a small fee, you know.
Yeah,
but
I'm a semi, you know, I'm quickly waning, but I was a semi-native speaker at some point.
Yeah.
But I think it's a great idea. I think that you, even if you're trying to do anything in another language, having somebody in that language read it makes the most sense. How many times do you get like instruction papers or something from from a store, and the only English that's on there is so broken that you're like, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to plug this in here or switch that off there. Like, so I think you always should have somebody that can to read that language or speak that language to put their 2 cents in there for sure.
And yeah, and Kickstarter kind of gives you other suggestions too. Like I like this one because I don't see a lot of pages do this, and that is to put two languages actually side by side in the description. So here's an example of what they have. It's an English is on the left and German is on the right. So as you're going along, you can, if you're German, you can read the one side, or you're English, you can read the other side. But they've made the graphics and everything just seamless and come together, so it doesn't look like one is standing out of the other one.
Right. No, that's pretty smooth.
Yeah. So I kind of like those things. The key point is they're like, know your audience. If you're going to do, say, a documentary on food culture in Mexico, you're probably going to want to do it in Spanish.
Yep. Yeah. No, I think that's a good idea. That's fantastic.
So those are kind of tips. And the other thing that I actually thought was interesting, and I didn't know, that Kickstarter search engine, it is actually accent mark friendly. So all those weird squigglies that you see on top of your letters and stuff, apparently Kickstarter's search engine can actually search for those. So
that's impressive.
So keep that in mind when you're putting the name of your project and stuff out, because that's usually what they're searching for, is the name of your project. So you may want to put it half in English and half in German or French or whatever you want, and that may actually give you a better chance of people finding your project.
That does make sense, and knowing what they're going to be typing in or what keyboard they might use. If it's search friendly, embrace it.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's all the news we have. We actually don't have any kick shouts. We will have a kick shout in about 2 weeks. We got a message today from a project that is getting ready to launch.
Yes.
And we'll mention it on our next episode, just because then they'll have their page ready to go. And maybe, depending on, we'll see if we can make this work, we may even have them on the show to talk about.
It's been a little bit since we've had a guest. I think that would be fun.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now on to our first project of the night. Drew, if I remember right, your parents were teachers, right?
Yes, both mama and papa were teachers.
Were one of them a science teacher?
Yes, my dad was a fantastic grade science teacher.
Oh, you're gonna he might even like this. So our first project, it's a board game. I don't do a lot of board games on this because I find that it's hard to explain how to play board games. So our first project is actually called Cytosis, and it is a worker placement game. So have you played Lords of Waterdeep or Agricola, or those games where you take turns putting down meeples or markers and you get like resources wherever you put them down?
No. Is it like Settlers of Catan? There's some resources.
A little bit, sort of.
I have not. But this sounds like a science game.
Oh, this is great. So it's a cell biology board game, and so think back, Drew. Think back to your science that your dad taught you. You remember a cell and all the stuff inside the cell, your organelles and stuff, and different things would make different, like your mitochondria, where you get your ATP or your energy from.
Mitochondria, mitosis,
Yeah,
symbiosis.
yeah. So this may be a good refresher for you. um, but it's actually it's a worker placement game where it takes place inside the cell. So you can see a picture of the cell right here. You have your endoplastic reticulum. You have your Golgi apparatus somewhere.
These do sound familiar to me.
So what you do is you're taking the little meeples and you place them on each of the positions. I wonder if you can see a better board. So right here. So say you need black cubes in the nucleus. So that's where the DNA is. You can put one of your meeples on that 3 or that 2. And then once you do that for that turn, you get three black cubes, which represent DNA. Or if you say you need ATP, you put it on this little purple thing over here, which is your mitochondria, and you'll get that amount of ATP. So you have all these cards where you need to get goals to get points for, right? What's unique?
Wow.
Yeah, what's unique about this game is like normal games, you have a secret win condition, and like other people won't know what your win condition is. So like some of them is like, oh, collect like 10 black cubes by the end of the game, and you get like 10 bonus points and things like that. For this, the end game, so your secret missions and stuff, it's all public. So at any time, at any time you can take your player marker and place it on one of those end game spots, and they have each card has a limited amount of spots that you can put on. They're worth different point values. This is kind of more of a European style game where whoever has the most points at the end wins. But there's strategy to that, because if you put it in too early, then everybody who's playing is going to know, oh, you're trying to get 4 red cubes, so I'm going to try and block you from getting 4 red cubes. Because that's part of the strategy with these worker placement games is there's limited spots on how many meeples you can put on a spot. So if it fills up before it's your turn to place it down, you're going to have to wait until it goes around again. And say you're only playing 7 rounds. If you don't get enough by the end, you might not get your win condition.
This sounds incredibly complex outside of cell and mitochondria and reticulating endoplasms.
Yeah, I don't know why these kind of games I really enjoy a lot, because you're just putting stuff down, getting resources.
Because you're a geek.
And
That's plain and simple. That's why you like it. It's like double geekdom.
Yeah, definitely. The science side of me is happy. The board game side of me is happy.
Full on double geeking.
Yeah, and like I just love the art that comes with these cards. Everything
that was pretty. It was actually really
like
good
it looks super cool. Just I wish my textbooks when I was in school had pictures like this, because that would have made my life a little bit easier. So yeah, they have like different events, different point values. So like this one is you get 9 health if you can collect 4 ATP. So you want to try and go to that spot and get it. But if people catch on, they're going to try and pull up the ATP before you can.
This makes sense.
So, and again, it's whoever has the most points at the end. They also have this virus expansion, which it's kind of a little bit more push your luck. So if you may want to risk it by rolling some dice. I probably won't, because in my experience, I suck at rolling dice.
Yeah, and you play games that do nothing but roll dice.
I know, and I'm terrible, and I lose all the time because I can't roll worth crap. I don't know why I still play, but I still do.
Go play.
But it adds that, and then that way you can play 3 to 5 players to that. And like, yeah, I just love this game because it's a little bit more chill. You don't have to kind of make spur of the moment decisions. And you should kind of see what your opponents are doing and see if you want to block them or try to get to your win condition. And I actually think it's a little bit easier for younger kids to learn, because they're like, okay, you put that down there, and then you're going to get 4 of these cardboard pieces or these meeples for your collection, and you got to match them up to the cards and stuff. In 2006, they took it to the Stone Meyer Design Day, and it was the highest rated game there. The other thing I actually like about this guy, his name's John Covey, or Genius Game. This isn't his first crowdfunding project. He's actually done multiple nerdy games, which I need to go back and like buy.
Yes, I'm sure that he's right up there.
I mean, because yeah, he has like uh, um, what was it? I think one of them is a deck builder that's about viruses, and the other one's like about atoms. It's called like Covalence and Ions.
Oh my
So
gosh, this is so geeky. Like, oh, this is like Nerd Geek, right? This is
yeah,
like this is Pocket Protector stuff. Yeah, wow, wow.
yeah. This is the stuff you show your dad and be like, yeah, I want that.
It's extra geeky and nerdy. I love it. I love it.
I don't know. Does this sound like a game you would want to play?
Sounds like it could be a fun thing, and I think that would make sense during the time in which my girls are learning this. When their science gets to this point in sixth, seventh grade, and whenever they start to talk about the microbiology and the cell biology, I think there'd be a fun way to learn that. If I were a teacher of that, I would definitely say, like, hey, let's put this in the classroom as like an optional activity to learn these things. Or I think that's great.
Yeah, I am definitely backing this after the show because for $50 I can get the premium collector's edition. Yeah.
Special KT data like meeple shape or something. Like you gotta name one of the
I would love that. If I could
name
do
your
that.
own card. You could be the virus.
Oh, that would be great. That's the one thing I got to do is get my name in a board game somewhere where I'm like a player or something. It's my
Yep.
next goal. So,
Someday.
is this backtrack or sack for you?
This is a back. I think the idea is fantastic. I think um, it's got all the great like fun board game ideas, but it sounds like it's very well thought out. It sounds like the whole game test plays, all that's probably happened if it's been introduced like 10 years ago. So I think it's a fantastic thing. I'd back this. I think it's a wonderful way to learn and play.
Yeah, and when I get it, I'll take it to your house and we can
Yes,
play, and
yes.
then you'll be like, uh,
I'll
I have a
remember.
feeling when I do that, you're gonna have like a biology textbooks in a way that you just studied up on. So you're like, oh yeah, that's where you generate your RNA and you can convert it to DNA. That makes total sense. I know where to do that.
Remember that now. I aced my microbiology back in the day.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
on it.
Yeah, and the last thing that I wanted to mention about this is since he's done multiple Kickstarters, he actually on his website, and we'll include this in the show notes, he actually has a blog that kind of breaks down topics that he wants to address in Kickstarter in crowdfunding. Some of these articles are actually a little bit older, but I think they're still, you know, relevant to the discussion. Like he has one about project duration or getting 100 backers prior to launching, or shipping, and how to price your rewards and stuff. And I really like getting that kind of insight, especially from someone who's had multiple projects successful and
Right.
he's shipped all of them too.
Right. No, that's fantastic. That's good info.
All right, on to our next project, where this kind of goes back to our introduction, where our backs, Drew and I, our backs intuition were just all synced. That I didn't even have to ask, and I put this in the show notes just for Drew.
You know exactly what we're looking at. So this project is an amazing. It kind of just fits the mold of what you usually see me backing or talking about, and that is Lego compatible bricks, things that expand my Lego love. So I believe a while ago on the show we did we do the Flexo bricks? I believe that they put
Yep.
elastics in the middle. So I've gotten those. I've actually played with them. My girls have little squeezy Lego balls that are collapsible that they have on their backpacks. I have the brick case on my laptop. I have brick wall mounts for putting outside of my doors for labeling my studios. So here is one that I just can't believe that this is how Lego-y I am. Lego compatible. I
Brick
had
building
three
compatible.
people. Yeah, it has to be. I had three different people point out this project to me today and say like, "I'm gonna get my Drew on," or "This sounds like something I can do." It is the Lego compatible adhesive tape by Newmuno Labs. Look at this. They've come up with a way to do kind of a rubber backing, rubber. I don't know. It looks rubbery to me. I'm not sure what the actual product is, but they've come up with a way to make it small enough that you can wind it and wrap it around things. It has an adhesive back that's repositionable. You can see there it's on the sink, or it's on the fridge, or it's all the way around the sink, which would be crazy at my house because it gets so dirty. But if you get on that page, or if you watch our video, you'll see all these options of things that they're doing. But imagine something about the width of masking tape, maybe a little bit wider, that has Lego locks on it all the way around it. And you can cut it, you can shape it to whatever size you want, and then you can stick Legos on it or any other compatible bricks that you might have. So some of their examples are like they stick this on toys, they stick it on sinks, on fridges, on walls, for decoration, for just hanging around. Like the whole like collection is amazing. The way they're selling this is in rolls, and I believe they're 3 or 4 meters into a roll. So like what 12
6.5 feet, two
six and a half.
meters. Yeah,
Oh,
2 meters
6.5 feet.
each.
So the little one's 2 meters, so 6.5 feet for their little rolls. And those rolls are, I don't know, just I could think of a million things to do with them. Things I'd stick them on, and you can buy them in bulk and really like blow them up. This is crazy. I think this
You need this one
probably
right
just
here,
launched.
right? The 100. The 100
I could
pack.
become a reseller.
No, you're not reselling. This is like you're gonna use all 100.
I'd stick that all over my house. So I have a couple of like question marks with this. Like a lot of what they show off in their video is sticking Legos sideways, and that's kind of like build sideways, which yes breaks the norm of what most Legoers do, but at the same time I'm kind of like I've never had the desire to have a sideways city. Like that's never been like a Lego conundrum for me. Like what do I do? I want a sideways city.
You got to think outside the brick, Drew.
Well, see,
Think outside
I
the
think
brick.
that's what I'm coming up with. I feel like majority of what they show is not quite out far enough, right? Like, they don't show a lot of functionality or the creativity is kind of like we can stick buildings on the side of the wall. The one I did like is they have one where they only stick parts of it down, so it makes it like a little blue wave. I did love the one with the shoes there. I love that they wrapped around the shoes because it's kind of cool looking, even if you're not sticking actual Legos to your shoes. That one does look really cool. I like that. But the all in all, they have blown up, and this is probably like something that is almost mind-boggling. Is that they set this campaign up on Indiegogo to reach 8,000? Was that their goal?
Yeah, 8,000 of a fixed goal.
$8,000 fixed goal, and they had a stretch goal at I think 12 and 16 or something like that. Like unbelievable that they were just like, I don't know if they just underestimated what they would do or what their I just trying to figure out like where it blew up because it almost feels like this is one of those projects that blew up so big it's going to be difficult to deliver. They were aiming for $8,000 in backing, and they are currently what is it?
They are over $250,000 right now.
Right?
$268,000.
8,300 backers at this point, and I don't think they're ready for that. I'm hoping that they like put it together, and they did say that they're doing castings or is that what they're called? Yeah, so they're gonna be able to mass produce these. They will, but the logistics of getting these passed around now is going to be like a totally new ball game for them. So I'm excited. I hope that they like keep blowing it up and do more and unique, neat things. I love that they found a space that had a couple of innovative things that like Brickcase is doing, but they also kind of found their own niche and just said, well, what if we make it flexible?
Yeah, I love the idea that you can cut these up because
Right.
that has always been my problem is those boards that you get, they're all fixed sizes. So I was like, well, I just need a small one, but
Yeah.
they're all fixed. That and I'm surprised they haven't done this yet. But how come they don't have a tape dispenser solution for that?
You'd have to have like a scissor arm to cut it because it's pretty solid, like rubber. I don't know. It looks like rubber, but yes, you couldn't just rip it like a tape dispenser. You have to have like a neck chopper.
But just think how cool that would be is just to have it in like a tape roll. And then when you can mess with people by putting a Lego right at the edge where the tape rolls, so every time they pull, it just doesn't move.
You're meaning. I love this. I think the project, and I think what's probably helped this to like blow up today, besides all the coverage in the press and how well, when we talk about get the engine running before you hit go on the project, these guys had that and more. Like when they hit today, it just blew up. And I'm hoping that they're just dancing because this has gone bigger than they anticipated. But the pricing on this is amazing. 2 rolls at 2 meters.
$11?
Yeah, roll $11.
Yeah, $11 plus shipping. Retail is going to be $13. So
it's just a good deal. Like whatever they've done to make this, or however they priced it out, it feels like it's just fantastic. $20 and you get a 4 meters, almost 12 feet worth of Lego-y
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm telling you, if you had an extra $2,000 and your wife would let you, you probably get the distributor pack just to get 900 rolls.
I probably would, and I would find something to do with them. I would Lego my car or something.
I'd go visit you up at the university, and all of a sudden, all the cameras have just Lego mounts on them now.
Lego mount. I would just stick it on tripods and Lego, and just be like, "Here, just click it in. Just click it in." That's how I do my Steadicam and everything. That's a great idea. So this is definitely a back for me. I love this idea, and I think it's fantastic. I can't wait for it to roll through. I have a little concern that with this amount of backerage, that's a real word, that they're going to get to the distribution part, and while they're hoping to get it out in July of this year, I have a feeling this might be one of those things that
It might
like the
get
heat
delayed a little
charger,
bit. Yeah.
like they're just going to get so big that it'll delay and delay and delay, and we
Mhm.
may not actually get it until end of year or longer. So
Yeah.
that's my fears, but it is a back for me.
Yeah, this one's definitely a back for me too, because I actually thought about it. Imagine this on like fabric and cosplay. You using it on cosplay because it has the adhesive, so you could stick it on and you could build something around it and use that. I dig it.
Yeah.
I dig it. All right. So now to our last project of the day. This one was voted on by you guys. Drew, I know you're not that musically inclined,
No, no. I listen to music.
but have you or your daughters kind of dabbled a little bit in the world of strings? You know, more specifically the ukulele.
Oh yes, yes. We have a ukulele that Glenn brought us back from Hawaii that I let them play on occasion. I
Yeah,
love a good ukulele.
and the biggest problem is that, and with most string instruments, is you got to know where on the frets to put your fingers, right?
Right. I don't
Or
know
it's just
any.
it's not gonna sound great, right?
I don't know any of that.
And the problem with that is you got to practice. And I know from experience, that when you first start out, it's going to be like bling, bling, bling.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's not that fun of an experience to do. So, we took that concept, or these guys took that concept, also took our concept of let's add Bluetooth to everything,
They did.
and put it into the ukulele. And what you get
What?
is
Bluetooth ukulele?
yeah, what you get is the Populele, the world's first smart ukulele. So
Wow.
So it is actually, it has a LEDs built into the frets, and it has Bluetooth. So what you can do with it is actually pair it to your phone, and then using their app, you can set it so you can play a game or a song, and the frets will light up on where you should put your fingers, so you can start learning the proper fingering. I know people are laughing, but that's what you call it, is how to
Sure,
put
uh-huh.
how to put your fingers on the properly. And not only that, they're also developing a little bit of games and stuff that you can use with it. So not only can you play it like that, you learn it, you can also record your ukulele right straight to the phone and share it to other people, which is I mean, that is a great bonus in itself, because how many times have you got on YouTube and they're like, "Hey, check out my ukulele cover," and it's like you barely can hear them.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I really love this idea because it's pretty simple. You pair it with Bluetooth, and then you just start going. You use the
It's
app.
blowing me away right now. This is like, wait a minute.
Yeah, so they actually, I love this game mode because you have little girls, trying to get them to practice an instrument sometimes is hard, right?
Oh my gosh, you don't know the pain. I gave up. That's how painful it was.
Yeah. So you have this game I should say in quotes, that's really actually teaching them chords.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
That, or you have this dazzle mode. As you play, the fret will light up, and the better you are, I think the more spectacular the lights come out. That, or if they're like, "Dad, how do I play this G chord?" You can actually just go into the app, tap a G chord, and bam, the chord pops up for you right on the fret, so you know where to put your fingers.
Wow.
I love every feature of this. That it's made out of spruce. The circuits are all integrated, and it looks nice too. That's the other thing is, have you seen some of those cheap ukuleles that are like pink and made out of plywood.
Mine's,
And
mine's
just
blue, but yeah.
um so yeah, they put a lot of kind of good thought into it, so it feels like a premium ukulele too, and it's not just something that you'll feel like you want to throw away. And apparently, their song library right now, there's 100 plus songs that you can learn, which one of them includes the Shakira song from Zootopia and
Ah,
Beatles
yes.
and Bruno Mars. So that's, I mean, I love the idea of this and just how, you know, how much like I kind of want to get this and learn how to play.
I
Like I don't have.
That's what I'm looking at. I'm trying to get down to the prices. So tell me, what are they putting their rewards at, and what is it going to retail for?
Okay, so what you can do is if you want to get one, it's a little pricier than other ukuleles. Not too much though, I might add. If you get on their early bird offer, that's $129, or it's going to be $150. Regular retail price is going to be $200.
Which makes sense. Like this is a full on like electric, but like connected
Yeah,
uh, instrument that's got some. It looks like it's very well put together, so that it does ring true.
yeah, and I'm looking up the prices because I honestly $200 for a solidly put together musical instrument does not seem like a lot to me. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm looking at the ukulele. So you have those cheap ones that are like $40 or so. But if you're looking for like some of these nicer ones, they're, $60, $70. But
And
they don't have Bluetooth or anything.
right, right. The LEDs, the app, the Bluetooth, like all of that easily gets you up past 130. So they've got a great deal here.
Yeah, and I mean, this is like if you're looking for someone who's like I kind of want to learn, this is probably the one you want to get it because I'll tell you the story. I got my cousin one. It wasn't like a totally cheap one, but it wasn't like a super nice ukulele. It was the middle of the ground. And like so her sister was learning how to play it, and then it just like snapped, and I was like, oh, sad.
Oh, dear me.
So so,
Oh,
so I think something with this is probably you're less prone to break it.
right, right. I think this is exciting to me. Like I think of all, and we've seen a few things that have just added Bluetooth, but they did something with their Bluetooth that made it so much more functional and learnable, and that they've kind of gamified it. Uh, set it up with tuning and with games and all the part of the app. Like they thought of everything. This is pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I'm really thinking about that early bird one. Maybe get my cousin a new one.
There,
Hopefully
there you go.
that one will break. So yeah, this one's definitely a back for me. I just love the idea. It's a flexible goal, so you're going to get it either way from the looks of it, and they have about a month left, so you may want to jump on it if you want to. All right, so now it is time for our sack of the week.
What is it? I don't even know. What is it?
So this is kind of an interesting. Drew, you live in the world of iOS. You're actually using your iPhone right now to record
do.
this.
Well, which I apologize. I hope there's not a lot of feedback.
You're fine. I know you like the world of iOS, but have you ever been a little bit of Android curious?
The way you phrase that. This show is going sideways. Um,
What? What? I just want to know if you want to try. If you've been curious about Android.
I have a Droid device. Yes, I have one.
So
So
this next project will get. But the problem is you don't want to have two phones, right? Who wants to carry around two phones?
no, no, no. I hate it. It's the home phone that we like let the kids play on. It was one of those like $30 cheapies, but it has Android on it, and it bugs me to set it up. But
Yes. So our sack of the week is called the Eye. It is a smart case for the iPhone. So instead of just having your normal black back to it, it has a screen on it and it's running Android on one side. It also doubles as a battery pack because what you do is there's a lightning connector on the side where you put your iPhone in, and you can use that as your battery connector. But on the other side, there's a 5-inch AMOLED display. It runs Android. It also charges wirelessly. The display is always on, gives you 2,800 milliamps of power. You can also put in two more slim slots, so you essentially have 3 phone numbers that you can play on it.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
It also takes an SD card, so you can use 256 gigs of storage. I believe you can also do that. Use that 256 on the iOS side. You can use it. There's a metal tag, so you can throw that to the car mount. Has NFC. It has an infrared transmitter on there. It has a headphone jack, which is important if you have an iPhone because it doesn't have that anymore. And apparently, it takes the best selfies.
Because it's using the back camera.
Yeah.
Right. You still use the iPhone's camera?
I believe so. And it is barely a little. It's about the same size as a Mophie juice pack in terms of thickness.
So essentially, let me see if I can gather this up because I'm not sure that I'm like fully grasping this. But what you've shared with me is that this is an iPhone case that has Android operating like.
You're essentially strapping a phone to a phone.
Right. So I have like a front and a back, a two-sider. That if I have like a work phone or a home phone, personal phone, I can just carry one device.
Yeah. Here's a use case right here that you can dual screen it, so you can use your calculator on one side while you're looking at your stocks on the other side, and do all the math that you need to do to make $1 million off the stock market. Because isn't that what day trading's for?
I still like this is so. Why is this the sack? Like, this is an interesting idea.
I think it's an interesting idea.
They've already funded, by the way.
Yeah.
It is strange. I'll give you that. Like, it feels like they're violating something holy here.
Well, the reason why it's a sack to me is because, one, I think it's a dumb idea. Why are you slapping a phone into a phone? And, like, by the time they get this out, that technology is going to be outdated, for one thing.
Very likely.
And two, they are over-promising, and I feel like they're going to under-deliver.
Now that I can see where you're coming from there. It's almost a too good to be true.
Yeah. Like when
does it say anywhere if they're like in a prototype mode or like how far along? Like do they have something?
Yeah, according to Kickstarter, they are in a prototype. The other thing is they've mentioned that we've never shipped anything before. So
yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm with you. Like there's a big question mark here. It feels like can you really do this? Can you really do this? Do you have all the things that you need to make this happen? What in the world?
Yeah, and I'm like, why do you essentially want to have two phones?
Right. I don't want to have two phones. I mean, most people I know that don't want to have two phones. I'm trying to figure out 1,200 people have like signed up for this. So while I'm kind of with you that this is a weird and strange and probably going to underdeliver somewhere.
If they deliver at all. Like part of me is like, this looks very, very sketchy.
Yeah. But there's people out there that are going to make it come to fruition, and we might have to eat our words. But
yeah,
I'll stand with you.
But yeah, that's why I think it's a sack, because honestly, I think it's a dumb idea, and I mean,
I think they're messing with something holy. You take that apple and you just let it alone.
Yeah, and I'm like, the prices for this is not that great either, because you're paying $129 for a case, essentially. $150 for a case.
Which is a lot. Yeah.
That's a lot to pay for a case. And I mean, how often do you get a new phone, Drew? It's like almost every year, right?
I do about every year, yes.
So if these guys ship on time, they're saying August 2017. If they ship on time, that's about the time they announce new iPhones.
Yeah, we have 2 months about the time where I do pick up something else, which is great. Like I am really astounded at this idea, but I'm with you. I think that while it's crazy and wild, if they pull it off, kudos. But I don't see it happening. Somehow they've gotten this far.
Yeah, and like looking at their page, there's not like a lot of text anywhere, and there's something off about it, and my detector's going off, where I'm like, warning, Will Robinson, danger.
Spidey sense is tingling.
Yeah. So that's why I think it's the sack of the week.
Yeah.
Even if you take
out a weird one.
Yeah. When this one was actually sent in by fellow podcaster Kenneth or Ken Pool from the Double Burst podcast, he showed me this, and I'm like, yeah, this looks like it would be a sack of the week.
It's fitting. It really is interesting. And most of our sacks are like just poorly planned projects, things that'll never fund. This is probably one of the first sacks that we've actually put on the show that has funded and is going to, like, move into production.
Mm-hmm. But I just don't feel good about it.
Yeah, it's very sketchy. This is sketchy.
So
wow,
that, my friends,
beware.
Yeah, that, my friends, is the sack of the week. Okay, so unfortunately, since that is the sack of the week, that's the end of this episode. We thank you everybody for watching live. We always appreciate it. So if you guys want to watch live, make sure you follow us on Twitter at Night20 for Drew, at Ktdata for myself, and at KickCast for the show. We're always looking for new project sacks of the weeks or just different ideas that you may want to consider. Let us know. Shoot us an email, kickcast@ktdata.net, or leave it on our Facebook page, facebook.com/kickcast. Of course, kickcast.net for the old episodes and places to subscribe. So you can automatically get all this stuff. Drew, you got anything to plug before we go?
Not really. It's normal life for me. My spring break is over and done, and I am just moving forward in normal life again.
What in the world is spring break? I don't understand that anymore.
I know. The rest of the world doesn't get to enjoy it. I didn't get to enjoy it. I worked for the whole thing.
Yeah, so our next episode is going to be March 28th. We hope you guys can join us live because there's some crazy shenanigans going on. And until then, my friends, bye-bye.
Bye.